visible and audible?
Yes, yes, Brian, you're audible.
Not visible. That's okay. Everybody just looked at me for 25 minutes to know what I look like. If I'm able to be heard, I'll just go ahead and ask if anybody has any questions. If you want, instead of talking, if you want to enter your question in the chat, we can do it that way too.
Hey, Brian. Good morning. So, my name is Patit. I have one question. So, my background is from a bachelor in science, and then later on I did MBA. So, I'm deeply interested to do CPA. So, am I eligible to do CPA, or what is the process to do CPA? I'm really interested, and I mean, I think that it is needed for my career. So can you please guide me what is the process to do CPA, and what is the total number of hours required to, I mean, for the eligibility criteria to be eligible for CPA?
What is it you want to do with your career?
Yeah, I want to grow my career in accounting and finance side mostly. So,
well, a couple of things in general about CPA. First of all, I'll talk about the eligibility. Every state in the United States has its own eligibility requirement. Almost all of the states require the equivalent of a 5-year master's degree in accounting in order to be eligible. There are still a few states and territories that allow a 4-year degree with 120 semester hours. The first step that I recommend that people do, if you want to do CPA, is you get your education evaluated. Because even if you have a 5-year master's degree, if it is from a university outside the United States, it still has to be evaluated. And so doing the evaluation is something you have to do anyway. So do that at the beginning. Find out how many credit hours you have. There's also requirements about how many hours in accounting, how many hours in finance, business law, tax, audit in different states. And so you want to get that evaluation, and I put the link in the chat of the site to do this. You have to do it if you're going to take the CPA exam. So make this your first step just to make certain that you're eligible for it before you go ahead and invest money and the time in doing it. Something to keep in mind about CPA is you have to also be realistic about how long it will take you to do it and how realistic it is for you to do it. One of the exams is almost entirely U.S. taxation. You don't like tax and you don't like to memorize massive amounts of information, it is going to be a challenge to pass that exam. So you don't want to start an exam process that you're not going to be able to finish. And so you also need to look at the syllabus and determine if that's something you're going to be able to put in the time and the effort necessary to pass that exam. But I put the link in the chat about for the education evaluation. That would be the first thing that I would do. One of the questions in the chat is, what course would I recommend doing after CMA? Well, this still comes back to the question of what do you want to do with your career and what will help you do that. One of the ones that, if you want to stay in the spheres of accounting and finance, one that I think goes very well with CMA is CIA, and understanding all of that control environment that's in the company. And so if you want to go into investment banking, then it's CFA. But if you just like accounting and finance, CIA is a certification that I think is a very good one to add to CMA. One of the questions, what is the future of CMAs after the Corona lockdown? I think the answer to that is the future of CMAs after the lockdown is over is better than the future of people who are not CMA. Like business is going to recover, business is going to come back, we're going to have to do all of that accounting. And having that certification is kind of that insurance. It's your investment in your career to make sure that you are more qualified than other people. We may see an increase in the decisions that people need to make. Companies are going to be wanting people that can be proactive, can lead, can make decisions, and having CMA demonstrate your ability to do that. Somebody wants to ask about adding CMA after doing ACCA. A lot of that would have to do with the country where you want to work and whether or not ACCA is recognized. I understand that ACCA is known in many parts of the world. If you interview with an American or an American company or any company in America and you say you are ACCA qualified, that in itself will mean nothing to the person that you're interviewing with. And so if you're trying to get into an American company or America, then CMA would add a lot to ACCA. Not that ACCA is the passport. I understand that people are able to go online and find what ACCA is, but in terms of going through that real quick look at resumes, CVs, being CMA is certainly going to be helpful for that. Question about whether or not the MCQs on the Hock program are sufficient to pass the exam. They absolutely are. I believe we are the only company in the market for CMA and CIA who gives a guarantee, like we do, that if you use our material and do not pass your actual exam, we will pay for you to take the exam again. And right now for CMA, this is $419 to register for the exam. If I did not think that our material was sufficient, I would not put $419 at risk for that. I know that if you watch our videos and do our questions, you will pass your exam. And so, yes, absolutely, our questions are sufficient for passing the exams that we have the materials for. Question about the cost is high. Well, right now, materials are cheaper. We have a wonderful discount going on as a result of the situation in the world. I understand it's expensive, and I understand the cost is high, and all of that. This is an investment. This is how you need to look at it. It's something that, you take the cost of exam fees, which is $1,300, self-study materials, a hot class in India, whatever the case may be. You're looking at $2,000, $2,200. Well, if your salary increases by $1,000 a year, and just $100 a month, you're going to pay for it in 2 years. And so you need to look at it as this is an investment that you're making, not just for a short period of time, but for the rest of your career. The question, what type of management positions that CMAs are able to get into? Well, any management position in accounting or finance, absolutely. Depending on the company, the fact that a CMA understands how a budget works, understands how a budget is prepared, I would say that a lot of companies would be happy to have a CMA in any position that requires a budget to be prepared and a budget to be managed. Clearly, a CMA may not have production expertise in terms of how the assembly line runs, but managing that process, managing a facility, absolutely, because there's a budget, there's controls that are in place, there's reporting that needs to be done. So really, any type of management position is one that I think a CMA is certainly eligible for. A question about the scope of CIA outside of India. It's wonderful. In terms of the field of internal audit, CIA is the only international qualification. So if you are a CIA and you want to go to any other country in the world, they will know what a CIA is, and it will have value for you. A question about CMA eligibility and the process. I'll speak very briefly on that. We have information about that on our website. But for CMA and for CIA, you need a bachelor's degree. It can be in accounting, it can be in zoology, it can be in botany, it can be in biology. You just need a bachelor's degree to be eligible to take the exam. For both CMA and CIA, you need relevant experience in accounting, finance, internal audit to actually get your certificate at the end. But in order to take the exam, you simply need to have a bachelor's degree. A question about CIMA. CIMA is a UK-based, CIMA, is a UK-based certification. CMA is the US-based management accounting. In terms of being a CMA being recognized by the government of India organizations, I don't know. That's not something I know. How many papers in SEMA? I don't know. There used to be 14. I looked at this recently. I was making another presentation somewhere, and I think it's 13, 14, 15 papers in SEMA. The person who said that their experiences at Hock is the best for self-study, I appreciate that, and I absolutely agree. I'm probably not the most neutral party to make that statement, but I absolutely agree with that. CMA in the Middle East and Dubai, absolutely, it's growing. There are huge markets there. There's a demand for it, so that's absolutely something in Dubai. In terms of the average salary for CMA, I don't know that, and I would recommend that you contact the recruiting company in the country that you're interested in. Question about when we're going to be able to provide UPass or repay guarantee for CPA. The answer to that is soon. It's something that we are working on. We just kind of need to do a few more things to set that up. But that is something that will be coming for CPA, as we already have it for CMA and CIA. Our pass guarantee is not a refund. The way it works for our UPass or repay guarantee is that if you do three things, and those three things are you watch 95% of the videos. You should really watch 100, but we know that there's issues with that. You need to get 90% of the MCQs correct, and you can do them as many times as you need to. And you need to get a mock exam or a review exam at a certain percentage, and you can take those as many times as you need to. We want you to become eligible. So if you do those three things, and then you fail your actual exam, Hock pays for you to register for the exam a second time. There's no refund to it, but we pay the $419 for CMA, whatever it is for CIA. We pay that for you to take the exam a second time. The support we provide, if you buy materials through Hock, we provide unlimited support, email, forum. Occasionally we arrange phone calls if that's what's necessary. It's not necessarily the most efficient way to do it, but unlimited support. So as you have questions, you can ask them and we will answer them. Sushant has asked the 15 years in accounts and allied fields, doubtful about CMA or CPA. I would suggest CMA. It's faster, it's easier to get. There's only 2 exams for CMA. The eligibility requirements are a lot easier. And given where you are in your career, I think CMA, given the investment, given the likelihood of completion, the difficulty of completion, CMA is what I would just offered the 2 sentences that you wrote. CMA is what I would suggest for you. CMA in software and IT, minimal. Again, it would be something that if you were going to become the head of the IT department and you were going to have responsibilities for budgeting and analysis of performance and communicating with top management in the company, it would be helpful. But if you're an IT engineer or software engineer, I don't think that CMA would provide much benefit for you. In terms of what's going to happen in foreign countries, again, I don't know. I think that there's going to be a larger need for local staff. I think there's going to probably be a reduction in the number of expats that are exported to other countries, and so it's important to have that certification. There are 2 papers for CMA. Somebody's 14 years in financial planning and analysis and working as a finance manager. Absolutely, CMA will be helpful. CMA is what's going to be different, make you different from everybody else who has similar experience as well. And so that in that certification, that's going to be kind of one step forward for you. CMAs work in fashion design companies. As accountants and finance people, absolutely they do. In any company, the accounting person, the finance person is very possibly a CMA. Hopefully the CMAs aren't doing the fashion designing itself, but the accounting for the company. Somebody has failed the first paper and is preparing for the second paper. Which one should you do first? Whichever one you're close to being prepared for. If your score in part one that you failed is very close, I would go ahead and finish studying for part one again, go through that. You're so close, just get that last little bit. If your score for part one was not very close, then maybe go ahead and continue the preparation for part two. The two papers in CMA, actually I'm fortunate that I have that sitting right in front of me. The part one is called Financial Planning, Performance, and Analytics, and part two is called Strategic Financial Management, are the two names for those. Other than the qualification, what other skills companies expect from us? Well, it's decision making. It's the ability to look at a situation, to put information from different places together to make a decision. One of the ways that I can give an example of what companies look for is this. In terms of ratio analysis and doing the financial statement analysis, what the current ratio is, the debt to equity ratio, and all of those ratios. Realistically, anybody with the text and the financial statements can come up with the ratio. Calculating a ratio isn't difficult. But what's difficult is knowing what those numbers mean. And taking these 10 ratios that we've calculated and say, well, these ratios indicate that the problem we face as a company is this. And not only is this what it is that we're facing as a problem, this is how we need to go about solving it. It's not just a matter of being able to calculate the ratio, being able to, calculate depreciation. What does this number mean, and how do we use it as a company? And this is a kind of a strange example, but it came to mind while I was talking about that. In addition to having an accounting degree, I also have a degree in history, and my area of emphasis is in history. And I remember my Russian history professor saying when we would be preparing for exam, he would say, I don't care if you know when Peter the Great was born or when Peter the Great died. That's in an encyclopedia, or in Wikipedia now. Anybody can find out when Peter the Great was born and when Peter the Great died. What we need to be able to tell you is why Peter the Great was important. How did Peter the Great influence and impact Russia? Well, that's the same thing about being able to anybody can calculate the current rate. Anybody can calculate the debt equity rate. So what do those numbers mean? That's what companies are looking for, and that's part of what CMA tests. That's part of what you need to do for the CMA. By being a CMA, you're demonstrating to the company that you already have those skills. There's a question, what is the coaching fee for CMA? It depends. It depends on the materials you purchase and all of that. I won't get into that right now, but that's on our website. That's India. The Indian office can help you with that and get that information for you. What is the maximum time to pass the papers of CMA? It's 3 years from the time you register as a CMA candidate. So we don't recommend you register right away. You start studying, and then when you know when you're ready to take the exam, a couple of months before that, you register and you start that 3 month or that 3 years clock going only when you know when you're ready to take the first exam. And I think I've answered all the questions that are in the chat. So that means we need more questions. Because I doubt I've answered all the questions everybody has.
You can even
What else can I help people with? Is passing a single paper beneficial? It's better than not. Yes, it's better than not. If you are in the process of passing the second one, that's fine. If you go into part one and I'm in the process of part two, that's fine. If you go into an interview and say, I passed part one and then I stopped, I'm never going to do part two, that doesn't really help very much. But a student, if you're a university student and you've even attempted one of the papers while you're a university student, you are significantly more qualified for every job that you interview for than someone who hasn't taken any exams. So university students should absolutely look to study exams while they're in university. I'm not sure I understand the question about the details on the case study. CGMA. CGMA is a certification that was developed by the AICPA to become the CPA, which is financial accounting. They developed CGMA to become a management accounting certification. It never really caught on. As far as I know, CGMA is just kind of empty in the world. What they did was everybody who was a CPA could automatically become a CMA just by paying money. And so there are a number of CGMAs, but that was just a function of the way the AICPA did it. I very rarely hear anything about it, and so I'm not sure really what the status of CGMA is. The case study questions, I assume you mean the problems and the essays on the CMA exam. My advice to those is essentially not to worry, and we've got a video that you can find on our YouTube channel where I talked about this. Most of the essay questions really are able to be created as multiple choice questions. You can take the essay question and break it apart into pieces, and especially the numerical questions. It's really just a series of multiple choice questions asked about one fact pattern where you don't have the choices. You have to come up with the number yourself. But they don't test different information on the essays than they do on the MCQ. It's the same syllabus, it's the same information. So the way I look at it is, if you are prepared for the MCQ, you are also prepared for the essays because it's being tested on the same information. I don't think there needs to be a lot of specific preparation for the essays. You want to go through the essays that they've released. We have all of those as part of our program. So you understand how the essays are set up, how they ask the questions. But in terms of different studies, no, it's the same information as the MCQ. So studying for the MCQ prepares you for the essays as well. The CPE credits, that is continuing professional education. After you have your certification, every year you have to continue doing education to make certain that that you stay current in your knowledge. The question about CMA or CFA, if you want to go into investment banking, you should do CFA. If you do not want to go into investment banking, you should do CMA. So if you're choosing between CMA and CFA, it all comes down to investment banking. If you want to be an investment banker, do CFA. If you don't want to be an investment banker, do CMA. The essay questions are on any topic out of the exam. I know sometimes people tell me or ask me, what topics should I study for the essays? All the topics. I know that's kind of not an answer, but it's not worth it to try to guess what topics are going to get. The ACCA certification does not provide any exemption. If you're a CMA or CPA, yes, you do get a number of exemptions from ACCA. It used to be 7. If you were a CMA, you got 7 exemptions from ACCA. I don't know if that's still the correct number, but you do get exemptions from ACCA if you've done CMA or CPA. Any other questions? In terms of how do you manage when you're very busy, this all comes with the same advice I give to anybody, but it's even more important if you have a family, you have children, we all have different things that we're doing in our lives. To me, the most important part of being able to prepare to pass the exam is to make a schedule. And what you're doing is you're looking at your schedule during the week and you say, I'm going to study Monday evening, I'm going to study Wednesday evening, and I'm going to study Thursday morning. Whatever time it is that you're able to study. And you're looking to study 1 to 2 hours. Okay, more than 2 hours, you don't need to do that. You don't learn as much as there's the law of diminishing returns. But if you have the schedule where you know, I study Monday night, I study Wednesday night, and I study Thursday morning, that makes your entire life easier because you know that on Tuesday evening, you don't need to study. Tuesday evening, you can go to your parents, you can go to your kids' events, you can go out with your friends, you can do whatever you want on Tuesday because you know it's not the time to study. Monday night you study, Wednesday night you study, Thursday morning you study. So have that schedule, block out that time, and tell your family. Tell your family so they know. Say, hey, Monday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday morning, I'm not available. But by making that study schedule, you know when you're supposed to study, which means when you're not supposed to study, you don't even need to think about it. If you don't have a study schedule, you just study when you think you can. What that means is all the time in the back of your mind, you're thinking, I should be studying right now. But when you have a schedule, you know when you're supposed to study and you know when you're not supposed to study. And that makes it a lot easier to enjoy that time when you're not studying. The question about the small fail, and I can't help you with that. I don't know how they calculate that and how they provide that information. I understand it's frustrating. I agree with you that it's frustrating, but that's not something that we're in a position to help with. How many hours are required for CMA? When you say 150 hours per part, that's 300 hours. For CMA, we say about 60 to 80 hours for part 1 and part 2 each, and 120 hours for part 3. CPA, you're probably looking at 75 hours per part, and this will be impacted by what your experience is, what your education is, but that's a starting point. So you're looking at close to 300 hours for all of these, for any of the exams individually. To get the experience for getting the CMA certification, your experience, it's really anything with money, accounting, finance, audit, tax preparation, budget work. Sales doesn't qualify. If you're a salesperson, that doesn't qualify. Marketing doesn't qualify, but it's very broad. So really anything that's connected to money and budgets and accounting and finance would qualify. Is experience necessary to pass the exams? No, it's not necessary to pass the exams. It's required to get your certification. Experience helps, obviously, some if you understand the larger picture that all of these elements are going into. That's going to be helpful, but students can pass. So it's helpful, but it's not required to take the exam. I think the question is, after you do ACCA, what's the value of doing CMA? There may not be much. If ACCA is the certification that you need and that helps you do what you need to do, then you don't need to take CMA. If you're ACCA and you're trying to get a job with a company that is, requires CMAs or prefers CMAs, then there may be value in getting a CMA. If that's, it all comes down to whether or not it's going to add any value to you. After you're an ACCA, CMA may not be your best second certification. If you're already ACCA, maybe CIA would be one if you're looking for something else. CIA might be your best second certification if you're already ACCA. How else can I help? I see there's still a lot of people listening, so there must still be some questions out there.
Please, let's, please feel to ask whatever queries we have to Brian, guys.
Which certification pays more, CMA or ACCA? It depends on the country, the company, the job title. I'm not sure there's a specific answer to that question.
For any India-related questions, you can mail us or you can ask us directly. You have your phone numbers, I guess.
How difficult is completing CFA? Well, I'll be absolutely honest with you. Years ago, I taught CFA Level 1, and CFA Level 1 is an excellent exam. At least I don't think they've changed it too much. CFA Level 1 is a wonderful, wonderful business exam. And that's, I mean, I recommend CFA Level 1. Levels 2 and Level 3, though, get into so much detailed mathematics. I mean, I would open a textbook and just no idea. I'd look at it and I'd have no idea what they were even trying to accomplish. And so if you're considering CFA, what I would recommend is that you look at part or Level 2 and Level 3 and make certain you're interested in studying statistics and math to that detail. If you're not, don't start. If you look at what's in Level 2 and Level 3 and you say, oh, I love that, I love math, I love statistics, then CFA and investment banking is for you. Can you pursue CFA after CMA? Yeah. And CMA will help you with CFA Level 1. I don't think it'll help very much with CFA Level 2 and Level 3. Which is better, India CMA or CMA USA? It depends on what you want to do. It depends on whether or not the CMA India will get you the position that you want. What is the best place to work as a CMA? Wherever you enjoy the job the most. I mean, that's a difficult question to answer. There's so many fields that are available in CMA, accounting, finance, that it's a matter, to me, what I learned in my professional career is you have to enjoy what you do. If you don't enjoy what you do, yes, there is an amount of money that would make you happy, but it's so much better going to work if you enjoy what it is that you are actually doing each day at work. Anything else? Oh, I see. When a CMA is add-on to CMA, don't standalone certification in the world. For CMA, after you pass the 2 exams, it's work experience. You need to have the 2 years of relevant work experience in order to get your certification. The question about whether or not CPA, if you pass the exam but you don't have your experience when you get a certificate or not a license, potentially. I think that depends on the state and whether or not a state does that. I think states used to, but they stopped. And there used to be what we call a 2-tier state. But I think right now you probably don't get anything. You get a piece of paper that says you passed all 4 parts. But without the experience and without the license, you are a CPA. And I'll give you an example of that. If you see anywhere written about me, it should say that I'm a CMA and a CIA, because I'm not a CPA. I passed the CPA exam, and I worked the necessary work experience to be a CPA, but I never submitted my paperwork to actually get my license. And so I passed the exam. I have my 2 years of audit experience, but I'm not a CPA. And so never do I say I'm a CPA. Occasionally I find somebody writing about me and they say I'm a CPA, but I'm actually not a CPA because I didn't get that. I didn't fill out the pieces of paper, and I don't pay money every year to have my license. When you do CMA, you get what is called a certificate. It's a certification. The difference between a certification and a license is really insignificant. You work as an Oracle Apps financial consultant. I don't know the details of what you do, but I will say that I think CMA is a wonderful certification for business consulting people. you're a consultant, a financial consultant, a business consultant, CMA is absolutely wonderful because it shows you the issues that the company you're consulting for has. It helps you speak the same language and understand the issues that they are doing, that they're going through, that they hired you for. And so as a consultant, yes, CMA is an excellent patient for that. Yes, experience in an audit firm would be relevant for becoming the question about CIA exam from home, there is no feedback yet. I don't believe anybody's ever done it yet. The CIA exam has a program now where you can apply to take your exam from home instead of having to go to the testing center. I'm not aware of anybody that's actually done that. I know a couple of students of mine have applied and they want to do that, but I haven't heard anything back about how that process is actually going to take place or how long it's going to take for that to go through. They should be, I assume they're the same questions. I don't think that the questions would be any harder or easier because it's being done at home.
So guys, any more questions?
Are all the professional exams connected to their syllabus? No, not officially or directly, but there are some topics that show up in CMA, CIA, CPA, CMA, ACCA. There's capital budgeting, working capital management. These are topics that show up in all the exams. A part of the question is how deep do they go into these topics? CMA goes into more depth in a lot of management accounting topics than the CPA exam, than CIA. And so capital budgeting is all in all of the exams, but there's just more depth to it in CMA than there are in other exams. Question 10, you take the exams in a single attempt. You can register for part 1 and part 2 or part 1, 2, and 3 on consecutive days or morning and afternoon. I don't recommend it. The only reason I would recommend it is if you have significant travel costs or difficulties to get to the exam center. If you have to fly to get to the exam center, then it may make a lot of sense to prepare for 2 of them, 3 of them, and take them at the same time just to reduce the cost of doing that. When I took the CPA exam many, many years ago, there were 4 exams, and it was all day Wednesday and all day Thursday. 2 exams on Wednesday, 2 exams on Thursday, and you had to take all 4 at the same time. And so now you don't have to do that unless there's a cost of travel or difficulty of travel. The question is, what percentage of the exam questions will be out of our questions? I hope the answer is 0. None of the questions on the actual exam will be the same as any provider has in their material. There will be some that are similar because there is a limit as to how many questions you can make up about independence and objectivity or whatever topic it is that we're looking at, but they should make new ones. And the questions that they release, we put in our software, we have in our database. But what you should not expect any of those questions to show up on the exam in exactly the same way. And if they did, it's bad exam process. In the CMA MCQs, each question is exactly the same weight. You get the same value for a short little definition question and a very long calculation question. I just made a video about this, that all CMA MCQs are of the same value. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you can sort through some of the videos I've made about these study tips and preparing for the exam.
Thank you so much, Brian. Yes?
I think there is still something between the ACCA and CMA, but it's not connected to the exam.
Right.
The IIA, I'm not sure that they release questions where you can find them anymore. They release questions to the provider, and then we put them in our software. We if necessary, write the answer explanation. I don't know if the IIA still does release questions. They used to, but I'm not sure there's any that are available right now. Or if there are, it's only a very, very small sample that they have on their website. Is it time to stop?
Yes, Brian. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
There's a question. You already bought textbooks, but now the syllabus has changed.
yeah,
If
yeah.
you bought books from Hock, it doesn't matter because you can go online and you can get a free online access to the updated textbook. If you did not buy from Hock, I don't know. Good luck.
So,
We provide unlimited access to all the updates you get. We help people that started studying in 2010 and had to stop, and then we get their access back and they get all the new material. It was my pleasure. For those of you that are still here and paying attention, thank you very much for this opportunity. I hope that this was useful for you. I hope that something piqued your interest. And if you haven't started studying for professional certification, I hope you're thinking about it. Like I said, now is the time. If you're at home and you've got some more time at home, you can use this time to get a start, to make that start into the process. But the sooner you get your certification, the sooner you begin to benefit from it, and the longer you're going to be able to get the benefits from it. So thank you very much. And we're available online, email, chats, and all of that. So if you have any other questions, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to help. So thank you
so
very
much.
much.
Thank you so much, Brian. I'm sure the students, like your valuable inputs have enriched us, and now they will be in a better position to take an informed decision. And this break, this lockdown period which you are having, will be using will be making use of it, best possible way. So thanks a lot, Julia. Thanks a lot, Brian. And it was a pleasure to get you, in between us. Uh, so uh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Everyone have a great rest of your day.
yes, Brian.
Goodbye. Good night.
Bye bye. Bye,
Thank you,
Brian.
Brian. Thank you, Brian. Good night.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah, Ganpati sir.
Yeah.
Ganpati sir is one of our faculties. He's a very veteran person, as a CMA with a huge experience in corporate industry, overseas experience. So I want Ganpati sir to speak something about Hock India and the way we teach here. So I'm giving the presenter right to Ganpati sir right now.
Okay.
Over to you. Over to you, Ganpati sir.
Yeah. Hi, good evening. My name is Ganapati Subramanian. I'm having some 33 years of experience in corporate life and more than 12 years of teaching experience for CMA. As all of you know, most of you who are attending the classes, Hock India classes are one of the best one where we use the Hock material, which is the best material which I have seen, because I have seen so many other materials when I used to teach for other academies earlier. Out of this, the Hock materials are very, very elaborative and fully subject oriented. So it is very much useful, and since the Hock India has the support till you pass, so it is very much useful for the Indian students, those who are really attending the Hock India class. And we also have the interactive program. Even we also answer even through the WhatsApp even after the classes are over. This way, the Hock India is doing a very good job, and it is very supportive to the students. And in fact, Hock India is having a better percentage of pass when compared to other academies. It's all because of the subject work where it's covered very nicely in the Hock material. Thank you. Any other specific question you would like to ask? I'm ready to answer related to the Indian scenarios concerned.
Guys, if you have any questions specific regarding, specifically regarding Hock India, you can ask us now.
Hello,
Yes.
am I audible? Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask there is a 20% off going on II India, II Global registration. So that is applicable for Indian students also, or it's only for like outside India?
IIA, Institute of Internal Auditors.
Yes.
What
Institute of
20% going
Indian.
on? What exactly that? I'm not aware of
This is
the.
in the registration of CIA, the 20% offer is going on, promotional offer. So
Promotional
we'll be
offer.
getting. Mm-hmm.
I'm not aware
So
of
that
IIA promotion actually. I'm not able to answer it.
May I know who is this?
Oh.
May I know who is speaking?
Hi, this is Kim.
91543172. That's the number he is putting.
Yeah. Where are you from, Kim?
I'm from India,
India. Okay. Which part of India?
Kolkata.
Kolkata. Okay. See, I also am not aware about the promotion, but I believe all the institutions they are providing promotions nowadays due to this corona issue. So if it is a worldwide promotion, of course, Indians will also be under it. So I'll just check it out. You can mail us at info@hockindia.com. We'll confirm you very soon.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else have any other question? Gokul, Kiva Thambi?
Yeah, this is Utkarsh here. I also have one quick question.
Yes,
Yeah.
Utkarsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Utkarsh.
Suppose I'm having an office laptop now, okay?
Okay.
And if I switch a company, so obviously my laptop will not be there. So will I be able to log in through other system?
Yes.
Log in with from your Android phone.
Okay. So I mean, there is no restriction as such on the system part, right?
Yeah.
No such restriction unless and until it is an advanced phone. Like very basic phones and all, maybe they do not support WebEx app. But as we conduct the classes through WebEx, like most of the standard Android phones, they will be supporting WebEx, and you can attend it through your phone.
All right, got it.
Okay.
You can log in from any system. That's what it says, but you cannot have multiple logins.
Okay, got it.
Okay, that's the thing. So it's only login. It's not related to your IP address also. Only thing is you are not allowed to have multi-login, whereas you can have it in any system. That's not an issue.
Yeah, so multiple logins at the same time, right?
Multiple login not allowed. Yeah, at the same time. Yeah.
See you, Giver Thambi. Thank you. Thank you for joining the session.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Our pleasure. Anybody else? Gokul? Gina? Janki? So as somebody was asking about the syllabus change, be rest assured, any change in syllabus, if you buy genuine books of Hock from Hock India or directly from Hock International, the syllabus, for any change of syllabus, it is automatically updated in your copies, in your books. So we generally, we'll be creating an account in the Hock International server. We'll be giving you an ID and password. So with that, you will be getting the entire access of printable PDF materials, the software, the videos of Brian, and then like Quick Bank, everything is there within that account. And it is auto-updated, and there is unlimited access. There is no expiry date of any Hock material, even the Hock India classes, the live online classes which we conduct. Like suppose if by any chance if you cannot pass in one attempt, you can attend our classes until you pass both your papers. We'll be there with you. And I forgot to mention one more thing. There is some good amount of discount in your IMA fees as well. You must be knowing that IMA will charges some fees like for your membership fee, for CMA entrance fee, then your CMA examination fees and all. So for a professional, it comes around $1,325 by default. So if you're going through Hock India, so of course there are some terms and conditions. We'll let you know once you are our student. You will be getting quite a good amount of discount even in your IMA fee. Yes, Kalyani has written the CP exam window has been stretched. Yes. And Sarvana Kumar, what time do the online classes start and finish? It starts at 9:30 p.m. Indian time in the night. After your working hours are over, and it ends at 10:30. So every day, 1 hour to 1.5 hour classes we'll be having 5 days a week. And the next day you get the recording of the class. We have Mr. Ganpati as our faculty. We have Mr. Sanjay Ramchand. Sanjay sir, are you there? Sanjay?
Yes, Basudhi, I'm here.
Okay, would you like to share your views on on something about Hock India and the way you teach here?
No, I think Ganpati sir has covered most of it, but what I would like to say is that, we try and give you as much practice as possible so that you're well prepared for the exam. So long as your concepts are strong, you don't have to worry about your, MCQs or your essay questions. So if you have understood the concepts well, you should be able to answer both the MCQs as well as the essay questions. That's my, input. And I feel Hawk covers a lot of, the topics well in detail so that, even if there is something which comes up in the exam, you're well prepared to answer. There are a lot of tips, and tricks which you can use, which the Hawk's textbooks have. They highlight it saying that this is important, so please do know about this and pay attention to this. Those are things which are really, small things, but they're really helpful for you to crack your exam.
You are right, sir. So in our classes, like it's not only we'll be telling you that you have to solve the MCQs, or we'll be just giving you examples of 1 or 2 questions. What we do is see this is exactly the screen which we share even in the classes. So this screen we can turn into a whiteboard. Now you can see a PPT. So sometimes there is option that we can turn into a whiteboard, and there is a digital pen with which the faculties will be writing on it, solving the questions, the problems, just like a physical classroom, but in online. It's fully interactive. If you have a question, you can ask them and get a reply instantly. And as a whole, Hawk quality, I don't think anything else to mention. You have already interacted with Mr. Brian Hawk, so you know it well, you understood it well. He is one of the most veteran mentors of CMA, CIA, and CPA in the whole world. He's doing the same thing for the last 30 years. So that's how it is. You can totally rely on Hawk materials, Hawk guidance, Hawk supports, and anything, any other question you have, any personal question, any related to something you want to talk to me personally or any of our counselors, you just mail us or call us. We will be have I will give you our number. Chat box. Okay, this 945510. You can also contact Kalani, you can contact Rachna, you can contact Priya. And even in states like in Bombay, in Bangalore, in Hyderabad, Chennai, we have our representatives. So this is our website, and there is correct of the and
Anna MJ is.
hello, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
When Anna MJ is asking one question, I was just chatting with him earlier. He
Yes.
was asking about AR, AP, GL accounts, accounts receivable accountant, accounts payable accountant, general account accountant. That's what I mentioned there. I'm Sana. Is it okay? In any company, if you go, there are three kinds of accountant. One accountant will be looking after the accounts receivable. That's called AR accountant. Then another accountant will be accounts payable accountants, AP accountant, and a general ledger accountant or GL accounts. And you also we have inventory accountants and financial analyst. It all depends upon various levels.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any technical question you can ask our faculties. Do we get recorded version of the classes? Yes. After each class, the classes are in the night after your working hours are over. In the morning, you get the recorded version of the same class. So practically, you are not missing. And regarding our partners, I forgot to tell you, right now we have around 20 partners around India. So not only for the books and materials they procure from us, they get full marketing support, technical support from us. So whatever we are Hock India, of course we run a centralized class, especially for the professionals and students who can afford, in the night time. But for the classroom coaching, especially, in small cities and towns, there are lots of classroom coachings which are conducted by very, by certified management accountants, and we provide full support to them, and all kind of helps and guidance, whichever whatever you require, and even, your students require, they can contact us directly. Mr. Ashish Kothari, are you there? Ashish, are you here? I think he has left it. Ashish is one of our partners. He was there previously. So anyway, so if somebody, any of you want to be the partner of Hock India, you can contact us in the same number, in the same email ID, info@hockindia.com. So any other questions or query you have? We'll be happy to answer. Utkarsh, we have everyday classes, Monday to Saturday, 9:30 to 10:30 p.m. Only Sunday is off. We don't believe in putting a lot of food in you and you get indigestion. So every day little bit, again the next day little bit, and we expect you to go to the recording the next day, in your tiffin time, in your recess time, break, whenever, and the next day you come after preparation. So that's the way we prepare you. And generally it takes 3 months for each paper, so, and 6 months for both the papers. You'll be getting a lot of mock questions in your Hawk materials itself. Apart from that, our faculty will be providing you their own mock tests, and they'll be discussing that in the. So it's not only for CMA, for CPA and CIA as well. If you are interested for internal auditing, for a career in internal auditing, or you want to be a public accountant for CPA US, you can contact us, and we'll be getting have Brian's videos, pre-recorded videos, so people who are not able to attend the live classes every day, or they have some issues, can directly they can because of Mr. Brian from India, we try to give you at a subsidized rate, like whatever is necessary from you. Any more question you have? Is my voice breaking, Ganpati sir?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Any more question you have, guys? Otherwise, we'll be closing this session for today. Lakshmi, any more question? Lakshmi Narayan? For any question, don't hesitate to mail us, to call us. Okay, thanks. So, should I end the meeting?
Yeah, done.
Kalyani, should I end the meeting? Okay, okay, okay. So, thank you once again, Brian. Your presence was really, it meant a lot for us, and people are more nowadays, right now, after listening to you, even in the midst of all this chaos, we know what is going on in the US. Still, you have taken out a lot of time and come here, spoken, given a lot of time for us. So we are really thankful for you. Uh, thank you so much once again, and stay safe. Take care of yourself. We'll be having, we'll be seeing happy days very soon. Hopefully. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Good night, ma'am.
Night, everyone.